Can you hear me? I am the middle child of five. You hear middle child and you think you already know me, and you know what? You might be right. I love my siblings, my two older brothers, my two little sisters. I love both my parents, and I know that they did their best in raising us. But man, why does that butt feel so heavy? That butt has a BBL. As the middle child of five, it was incredibly, incredibly lonely in a different way that it is lonely for a middle child of three. And I'll tell you why. My two older brothers were so close. Yeah, they were siblings in the way that brothers are, but they were really close. They still are really close. They live in the same state together. They're brothers. And then my two little sisters are very close. They have always had this relationship that I always wondered why I can't be in that too. And there are many reasons. I was the first girl born, so I was old enough to be around the boys, but not to spend time intimately with the boys. And while I was young enough, I was able to connect with the girls, all the ones born after me. But I hit puberty and matured at a speed that was different than both of them. Hence the problem. We've got two sets of best friends, and then there's me. Lonely is the best word I could use to explain it. And my siblings didn't really single me out, like, we all loved each other. In fact, I feel really blessed that all four of my siblings and I are as close as we are. There were some rough patches there, but I'm really, really happy about that. But that doesn't change the fact that so much of my life I felt lonely, and so I just chose to be alone because it was a lot easier to just choose to be by myself than to want to be a part of a duo and always feel like that third one in the trio. If you've ever had like an odd number friendship, you know exactly what I mean. It's kind of a part of the reason why I don't want to have an odd number of kids. Like, if I blow past two, we have to have four. We're not doing a single one in the middle. I just can't do it because of what I experienced. I don't want that for any of my kids. And again, I don't blame my parents, I don't blame my siblings. That's just the way things shook out. And maybe for the better. Maybe it was good that I found my friends in books and teddy bears and the little imaginary TV shows I would play by myself in my head and the little bugs I would talk to or treat. Oh gosh, as I'm saying this, it sounds really sad. And I'm sure to most people I just was quiet and alone, but I wanted to be heard and to be seen and to not be ignored. I didn't want to be talked over at the dinner table, but that's just the way it worked. And it worked, I guess, if you could call it that, until I was like, I don't know, a teenager. I think I touched on this a little bit earlier, but when you are constantly craving the affection and love of the people around you, but it never comes to you in the way that you were hoping for, you end up choosing loneliness. And I won't speak for the entire populace, but that's what I chose. I chose to just choose to be on my own because that was a whole heck of a lot easier than always being disappointed about the fact that I ended up lonely. Unfortunately, that choosing to be alone kind of left me with these superficial relationships my entire adolescence slash early adulthood. I never let people get deeper, and I never tried to go deeper with people because I coped too hard into solitude. Unfortunately, probably with a mess of other things that culminated to it, that mental break I hinted at earlier came running around the corner and embraced me like a hug. So, after said mental break, well, the second one, came something that I'm considering as of right now, the cleansing, where all of my old life just kind of had to get left behind forcefully because I wasn't choosing to leave it behind. I've lived a certain way my whole life. I'm not going to just up and change immediately, except God was like, "Yes, you are." And Jesus was like, "It's going to be okay though." And I was like, "But no." I moved away from the state I was living in. All of the friends I had, no more contacting them. Relationship I was in, over. Everything from who I was before was just slowly being chipped away, chipped away, chipped away, which sucked, but it forced me to look at myself and rebuild, and took a long time to admit, but to finally admit that I do want connection. I don't want to be alone. I do want somebody to see me. And I do want, when a question is asked to the room, I want somebody who wants to hear the answer to the question that I have. I'll never forget, and this leads me into my next point, the comfort section of this story. If you know, those car conversations hit different. I would ask him a tiara question. If you don't know what tiara question is, I'm gonna urge you to go watch one of my previous videos that I'll leave linked. If you don't watch it, that's fine. You know, I like rebels. But I asked him a tiara question and he answered, and then he flipped the question back on me. And it became a funny, kind of jokey inside joke moment for us because he flipped the question back on me. And I said, "Oh, I don't know." And he was laughing, like, "Why did you ask me a question that you didn't have the answer to for yourself?" I was like, "Well, I wanted to know what you thought." And a deeper part of me that I'm acknowledging was like, I didn't think anybody wanted to know what I thought. It was comforting knowing that this is my person, but also that he wants to hear me and he cares. And he is my duo bestie that I am super close to and knows me better than anyone. And I'm so, so glad I finally found that thing that I've been craving since childhood. If you're listening to this, thank you. But yeah, that was the comfort and the connection and how it all culminated into the Lost Land Sage. And now I know you're thinking, or maybe I don't know, call me on my BS if you need to, but I think you're thinking, what does that have to do with the Lost Land Sage exactly? Some of you are thinking, what is the Lost Land Sage exactly? The Lost Land Sage is my graphic novel that I am self-publishing and also publishing online like a webcomic, which I'll also leave link below. Like, no pressure, but it's there. With healing from the self-induced lonerism, shout out to Tame Impala, and with finding myself, hippy dippy, but true, and finding my person, rom-com, but true, minus the cheating. Why do all rom-coms have cheating? I'm getting off track. With finding my faith, shout out Jesus, I realized that I want to be heard more. I have so much in me that I need to say. And maybe it's selfish, but I have to make the Lost Land Sage and any other story, okay, that comes out of me work. I have to do all that I can to make it work. I need to make this work. If that means staying up until 2 a.m. to make sure that I'm drawing pages, or if that means using 12 of my free hours straight to create an illustration to learn more about my craft, if that means going to a webcomic event to network, and even though it makes me uncomfortable, doing it anyway, if that means self-publishing a graphic novel with absolutely no prior experience, hoping for the best. If that's what all of that means, that is what I'm going to do because I have to. And I have to because I am just so sick and tired and done with being overlooked. I have a story to tell. Dang it. And I'm going to tell it, okay? And please just listen to me. If you are listening to this right now, just listen to me because I have something to say. So, can you hear me now?